Welcome to Mindful Conversations. My name is Greg Dwyer. My guest today is Father Larry Elward. I say that right? Elward?
You said it right.
Oh, wow. I had a doubt there. I don't know what was going on there.
You're good.
So you are a priest, but of what order in the Roman Catholic Church?
Well, I'm actually a priest, an independent priest, and not a priest of the Roman Catholic Church. I was ordained under the auspices of the Episcopalians, Orthodox Church, Catholic Church, those orders. So actually, I'm not really a priest of those churches, but I minister to anybody that wants to.
So you're really ecumenical?
Absolutely.
Okay. And there's a specialty that you work with, which is exorcisms.
That's correct.
With the supernatural.
And paranormal investigations.
Okay. So what's the difference between the two?
Well, actually, I'm not sure what the difference is because when I was growing up, I thought all priests were involved in the paranormal and the supernatural and spiritual. Mm-hmm. But as time went on and I got older, I sensed that there was some kind of an artificial divide in regards to the ministry between exorcism and other Christian ministries.
Do you think it was Vatican II, or do you think it was just the 60s and the 70s and churches started focusing more on social ministry and outreach to helping the poor? What do you think happened?
I really don't know. As far as social outreach to the poor and the disenfranchised, actually, I think they should be doing more. I think it would be, the world would be a better place if they did 10 times more than they're doing now. Mm-hmm. However, the emphasis is doing outreach, social outreach, mm-hmm. social justice warriors, as you would call it.
Right.
And it's being done at the expense of spiritual things. Because there are people that are in need of spiritual help rather than temporal or physical or material help, and it just seems that for some reason they're not getting it.
So it seems to me it would be easier to help somebody financially, or maybe help them get a job, or maybe if they're having family difficulties. But if you peel back and look at the real issue, maybe it's a spiritual issue, and that's harder to deal with, so people don't want anything to do with it because you're going to get your hands dirty.
Yeah, absolutely. You get the social structures that are made to deal with people that are poor and homeless and things like that, abused women and things like that. But as far as people saying that they're have spiritual problems, well, they just don't want to deal with it anymore. And that's where I try to come in and help them.
So how did you get involved in this work? I mean, has this been something you've been thinking about all your life? Is this something that you got into recently?
Well, I think what started me off was when I first saw the movie The Exorcist. I was 14 or 15 at the time. You know, I'd always wanted to be a priest, ever since at a young age. But when I saw the movie, I said, geez, that's kind of like ministry that I'd really like to do. I don't know why. It's just something that, it looked really cool, you know, when you're a kid.
It's Hollywood, too,
Absolutely.
Right? I mean,
absolutely Hollywood.
That wasn't real, but it was real. What I remember was the case was in St. Louis, right?
Yep.
And it was a boy, not a girl.
Right.
And I also know that, I don't know if you know this, but this is what I heard, that a Lutheran minister was called in first because the family was Lutheran.
That's correct.
And the Lutheran minister could not do anything to help them. Is that true?
That's true. The Lutheran minister said, you know, this is a job for the Catholics. I don't know why he said that. I really don't believe that's true. I think the Lutherans have a lot to do with the exorcisms too. But you know, that's exactly what happened.
Okay, and then they brought in a Catholic priest, but then they tied it with a Monsignor, right? I mean, there were more than one priest working on this case.
It was a team of Jesuits, from what I understand.
Okay, and it lasted, I think, for like 30 days.
Yeah, it was a long exorcism.
Yeah. So then they take that and then they make it into a Hollywood movie, and they spice it up, and it was very gross. I watched it probably about 10 years ago. I didn't see it when it first came out because I was scared to death. But then when I watched it, I thought to myself, this is really obscene, some of the things that they did in that movie. You know, it was really dark. So, and then what about the movie The Conjuring? I know that came out a couple years ago. How much of that is based on the truth?
I'd say about 50% is based on the truth.
Okay.
Because, you know, you have Hollywood getting involved, just like the movie The Exorcist.
Right.
A lot of cases I do, they really wouldn't transfer very well to the silver screen.
Right.
So you have to add a little bit of Hollywood twist to it.
Right.
But stuff happened at the Conjuring house. And I think on the whole it was a very good movie. It was a pretty good representation of what happened.
I watched it when I lived in New York, and I went to the theater in the afternoon, and I sat on the aisle, and I kept one foot in the aisle, just in case. But it opens up with the Warrens going around, right, doing lectures, you know, all the way through all these college events, and then they're in the process of getting involved. I think it was like 1974. I think that was the year. And then the whole thing unfolds where they meet evil, and I guess the ending of the movie is you got good and you got evil, and then in the end, good triumphs over evil. But a lot of that is just made up. How much of it is true? Like, what could you tell us actually happened from that movie?
I'm really not sure at this point.
Oh, okay. It's kind of blurry.
Yeah, it's kind of blurry at this point.
Yeah.
But going back to the Warrens, the Warrens started me off with my interest in the paranormal. I went to many of their lectures, you know, and actually trained under Ed and Lorraine.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
This was like in the 1980s, the
Right.
85, 86, 87.
Right. I remember meeting them in Newtown, Connecticut. They did something at the town hall. And it was probably 79, my guess, you know, around there. And I thought to myself, these people, maybe they're sincere, but I didn't think they were sincere. But now that I think about it and met you and have talked to other people like John Zaffis, I realized they were sincere and they definitely wanted to help people.
Yeah, they were very good people. You know, they wanted to put themselves out and make cases and show it to the public. And maybe things were exaggerated here and there, but they were very sincere in what they did.
Right. So how did you meet them originally?
I met them through one of their lectures.
Okay.
Then I was invited to attend a series of meetings at their home in Monroe.
Okay.
And they took me and a few other people out on investigations, and we went through the various systems of investigation, how to conduct an investigation, what to look for, you know, things like that.
Can you walk us through the process? Like, if you were to get a phone call and you were to go to someone's house and that, let's say something was going on that they didn't understand naturally, what would you do? How would you proceed? What are the questions that you would ask a person?
Well, back in the day, we didn't have the equipment that they have now. Okay, so we'd pretty much go in there with just asking questions like, we'd ask a family history. Is there any mental illness in the family?
Right.
You know, that's an important thing.
Sure.
Not that everybody's crazy that has a ghost, but...
But I understand that the Catholic Church, when they are called to do something like this, they are going to rule out psychological problems.
No, absolutely.
Right. You know, they're not going to get involved and call it supernatural if it's schizophrenia. Right. Okay.
And then we'd do a tour of the house.
Okay.
We would have investigators stay overnight, see what had happened.
Right.
And at that time, we had these things called Gauss meters that would check the electrical energy of the house, and tape recorders to see if there was any EVPs.
Okay, and what is that? What is that?
An EVP is an electric voice phenomenon that you would get on a tape recorder. You would ask questions and
I've
see
heard.
if anything would
I've heard.
come out of it.
Do you think that's for real, like voices coming through that technology?
I think it is, but personally, I can't make a word out of whatever it comes through. You know,
Okay.
It's one of those things with me.
I see. Okay.
I do believe in it, but
Right. So what was it like to go on your first assignment? Did you go with the Warrens together, or did you go by yourself?
I went with the Warrens together, and it was an exorcism case.
It was?
Yeah, it was.
What year was this?
This was in 1985, 86.
Okay.
Zaffis was there. It was a farmer in Massachusetts that was possessed.
Okay. And how do you know if a person is just having a bad day? I mean, really, how do you know someone's possessed? I mean, their head's not turning around. They're not turning green. They're not, you know, throwing up. So how do you know it? I mean, how do you test it?
Well, the way I tested it was I was young and dumb at the time, so I really didn't know
Right.
what I should or should not do. But the gentleman was sitting at the table, and I just had some holy water with me, and I said, "Hey, do you want to take a drink of holy water, see what happens?" Okay?
No way. You asked him to
absolutely.
drink?
No, I didn't know any better at the time.
Okay.
And now I'm a priest, and of course I know better. I would do it anyway, but
All right. So what happened?
he took the drink of the holy water, and then he started clenching his fists, trembling.
And smoke came out of his ears?
Just about.
Really?
He spit out the holy water, and as the holy water hit his white T-shirt, it turned red.
No way.
Oh yeah, yes way.
Are you kidding me?
I kid you not.
So this is not a movie.
No,
This is real.
This is real life. We took pictures of it. Whether it was blood or not, we did not test it, but
Okay.
yeah, it was pretty pretty impressive to me anyway.
So if you're going on a case like that and that happens, what's your reaction? You look for the exit signs? I mean, what are you thinking at that point?
I don't think I would do that now.
Okay, all right, okay.
We're a little bit more controlled.
Okay, so what happened after that? I mean, did you guys do something?
Yeah, we called a priest to do an exorcism.
Oh,
on
you
me.
did?
Yeah.
Okay.
We got all our information together.
All right.
We said it was a legitimate case.
Okay.
Or we thought it was, and it was, of course. But
So
priest came in and he did the exorcism.
So in those days, how do you find a priest that will do something like that?
Usually they're priests like me that are on the outskirts of,
I see.
you know, that just want to help people, but they don't have the strictures of a regular church.
So why wouldn't you call a Monsignor, say, in Connecticut or in Hartford or in Massachusetts and say, hey, you know, have you ever done this before? What's the church, what's their reaction? I mean, they showed up in the movie The Exorcist, right? Yeah, Hollywood's got it right, but what's the major disconnect?
Is the person that you want to have an exorcism on, are they Catholic?
Oh.
I have no idea. Actually, this is a good question. I do not know if the Catholic Church would help a person that's not a Catholic.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Personally, I've helped Muslims, Wiccans, Jews,
Wow.
atheists,
Okay.
stuff like that.
Okay.
But if the Catholic Church wants to do an exorcism on a Catholic person, I think a lot has to do with, are they a member of a parish?
All right.
Are they a heavy hitter?
You mean financially?
Financially, do
Really?
they contribute? I don't know.
Okay.
I'm just
Right.
wondering.
Okay.
Does this
Vested interest is what you're saying.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right.
All right. They have to go through a psychological process.
Right.
The psychologist that tests them. Are they Catholic?
Right.
Are they Jewish?
Right.
Are they Muslim? Do they believe in God?
Right.
That's another issue.
And what about how long does this take? Years? Months? Weeks?
I don't know.
Okay.
A long time.
A long time, right.
So therefore, I being me, we cut through all that red tape.
Okay, gotcha.
I work with a person, my wife,
Okay.
and some other psychic investigators that have done this for years, and we can pretty much tell if a person needs an exorcism.
Okay.
And as far as exorcisms go, if we decide that an exorcism has to be done, well, that's 20 minutes out of my life that I'll never get back, but I'll pray it.
Wow. Now, this isn't a business, right? You're not doing this, you're not putting up a shingle and saying, you know, this is what I do. So you do this because you care.
Yeah, this is a ministry.
It's a ministry.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
So-
we're not really Ghostbusters per se.
Right. Okay. That's a whole different story. That's a
Yeah.
whole different
Yeah.
genre. So you don't go into houses and try to speak to dead people or anything like that. You're dealing with individuals who have possession.
And of course, we do investigations of haunted houses and things like that.
Okay.
But as far as the exorcisms go, that's a different story.
Are you finding more and more cases with haunted houses?
They come and go. I mean, sometimes we're busy, sometimes we're not.
Okay.
Actually, I think there's a haunted house on every street corner.
What-
It's
what-
just that the people that are living there, they're not sensitive to the
Okay.
activity that's there.
So how do you know if a house is haunted if people don't know there's anything going on there?
They're just not sensitive to it.
Okay.
Now, like tomorrow, I'm going to be doing an exorcism on a haunted house because one of the people there said they woke up in the morning or at night with seeing red eyes staring at them.
Really?
You know, and just a sense of evil. They woke up at 3 in the morning and stuff like that.
Okay.
And the thing is, that's the house I'm living in.
Your house?
Yeah, absolutely. Because we're paranormal investigators and we draw this stuff to us, so
Okay.
I have to do an exorcism on my own house.
So how much of this comes home with you? If you go to someone's house or you go and perform an exorcism, are you concerned that something's going to follow you home or something's going to happen in your own personal life?
We're always concerned about that.
Okay.
And very many times it does.
It does.
Now, my daughter, for instance, my stepdaughter, she's we call her the lightning rod, because sometimes she'll come down in the morning and she'll show us like scratches on her arm or something. It's usually three scratches.
Okay.
Or something grabbed her leg at night and says, "You got a case coming."
Oh, no.
And I said, "Okay, thanks for letting us know, and we'll do a..."
So there's no division between the professional and the personal. You're connected with this. This is something that's going on with you in your own life.
This is our life.
Okay, okay. So do you talk about this at cocktail hours? Do you talk about this with all of your friends? Do they know about this?
Yeah, pretty much
They do.
everybody knows, yeah.
Okay. And what's some of the reactions that you get from folks?
Well, we like to let people know what we do because, you know, you never know who's going to need the help.
Okay, all right.
And very few people think we're absolutely crazy,
Oh, okay. All right.
believe it or not.
All right.
We might be crazy in other ways, but
What's one of the cases that has happened that you'd like to share?
I'm not sure.
I have
Okay.
one.
Yeah,
I have one. I have one. You
Yeah,
were
let's-
talking about this at the last show we did. The lady that showed up with the boots, the lady that showed up with the purple. I don't know what the case was. I guess it was here in Connecticut. And come to find out she was involved in some kind of Wiccan program or a witch.
Oh,
Do you
yeah,
know what
yeah.
I'm
Oh,
talking
yeah,
about?
that was, yeah.
With the hammer, I think
that
she
was
came
something,
after
yeah,
you.
we were almost killed.
What happened? Tell us that story.
Well, we were doing an exorcism on this person, and what happened was we didn't really know the full story of the case. It was really her daughter that we were doing the exorcism on that needed the help. She was being scratched and stuff like that. It was a legitimate case. But this woman, her mother, wanted to set her daughter at ease. Said, let's do an exorcism on me because, I've got some problems here and there. And
Okay.
just show you that it's really nothing, no big deal.
Right.
So we were doing this exorcism on her, and all of a sudden she goes completely BS on us, starts pulling her jewelry off and stuff like that, and started attacking us.
Wow.
And we calmed her down. We finished the prayers, and afterwards she apologized for the scene.
Right.
Then she got up and we started praying over her daughter, and then she comes back with looked like a claw hammer and a cannonball, looking like Orban scepter.
Oh, my goodness.
And she was just cussing us from left to right, up and down, and said she was going to kill us and throw us out of her house and blah, blah, blah. And we were more than happy to leave.
Right, right.
But
And what'd you find out about it?
she was a satanic high priestess.
Oh, I see. Okay. So she switched between that and being calm and
Yeah, we
friendly.
never knew anything about it until after the case.
Okay.
A lot of times that happens. After the
Okay.
case is over,
You find
we
out
find
there's-
out what happens.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it did end well?
Everything ended well as far as I know. She's still doing all right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So how do people get a hold of you? How do they find you? Obviously, they're not going to look in the yellow pages.
Well, they can find us on Facebook.
Okay. And spell your last name.
Elward, Elward.
And it's Larry.
Right.
Okay.
Maybe it's under Reverend Larry, but
Okay. And so what's the next case other than the house case with the exorcism that you're working on? Anything else that's
no,
going on?
that's in the future. We'll just have to see what happens.
Right.
Maybe somebody that's watching the show right now will
Right.
have a case for us, and we'd be more than happy to investigate.
And do you do an interview over the phone, or you go straight out to meet these people?
Well, there's a lot we can do over the phone.
Oh, you can?
Absolutely.
Okay. And
Sometimes we don't even have to go there.
Okay, so what happens over the phone? You just have an interview or a prayer, or what do you do?
We interview them, see what's going on, get the history,
Okay.
and then if they're local, hopefully we'll go there and do an investigation and
Okay.
do the prayers, whatever we have to do a house blessing,
Sure.
person blessing. And if an exorcism is needed, it's no problem.
Well, you said local. Do people call you from all over the United States?
Yeah, I'm afraid so.
They do. What's
Yeah.
the furthest it's been?
The furthest Debbie and I have been to is Florida and Alabama.
Okay. Okay. Do you think there's places in the country that have a high population of this, like New England or New York, or, have you seen that or no?
Well, I think any population that's old, like let's just say Salem, for instance.
Okay,
One of the original cities
Right.
in New England, with the Wiccans and the stuff like that.
Right.
That's old.
Right.
They have old populations. Places in Connecticut that from the 1600s, you'll have hauntings and stuff like that. So.
Well, what would you say to somebody that doesn't believe in the supernatural, doesn't believe in demonic activity or ghosts, or what would you say? If you don't believe, you don't believe? I mean, what's your...
I don't blame them. It's really hard to believe, to be honest with you.
Okay.
But I would just invite them to come along with us and just see what we do.
You would invite them to come with you?
Sure, why not?
Okay. Wow, interesting.
Skeptics are good.
They are.
They keep us level-headed. I'm skeptical about a lot of stuff.
Okay.
Absolutely.
You are personally?
Oh yeah.
Like what?
Orbs and stuff.
yeah.
Orbs. You see these people posting orbs
Yeah,
and
I've
things
heard of
like
it.
that. And they got the smiley orbs and the blue orbs and the red orbs and stuff like that.
Don't you
And
think it's just dust on the lens of the camera, maybe?
I think for the most part it is.
Okay.
And then again, you have the EVPs, and you hear everybody going,
Right.
And then to say, oh, you know what it said? I can't understand a word it says.
Right.
And
But what about a table turning over? Or what about a painting falling off the wall? Or what about a chalice burning? Tell the story about the chalice.
Yeah, what
in your
about
house.
it? Well, there's some things you just can't.
Yeah, tell the story. You showed me the photo before we started shooting.
Yeah, my wife and I went to work one day, and when we came back, there was a smell of smoke in our house.
Okay.
And I'm a poor guy, and the altar that I used to say Mass on was a chest of drawers.
Okay.
And the whole thing had somehow caught on fire. The pewter chalice on my altar had burned. Yet on the altar was an altar missal to say Mass with,
Right.
a relic of the cross,
Right.
and a few other relics there, and an icon. They were totally unburned.
Unburned.
They were singed.
Okay.
They were singed, but nothing was destroyed on the altar
Okay.
except the altar itself and the altar linens and the chalice.
And nobody got in the house to do this?
No,
right?
nothing.
And the house didn't burn down?
No.
So how do you explain that? That's really strange.
Well, it's either a poltergeist, fire poltergeist,
Okay.
which I believe in is possible,
Okay.
or just the demons just wanted to just let us know we were there,
Right.
that they were there.
Right.
So I have no reason why they did it. I don't have any case to talk about regarding that. It was just one of those things that happened.
That's amazing. And then you had a near-death experience. You had a situation where you were under an automobile. Is that true? What was the story? I
I was run over by a car 3 times.
But it was involved with a case that you were working on?
We were involved in three cases. I think there were three Santeria cases.
Okay.
And actually, there's nothing really to talk about the cases. If I was to write a book about them, they would be like footnotes. There was nothing to say about them.
Okay, gotcha.
As a paranormal investigator, a camera turned off, this happened there, and
Right.
blah, blah, blah. But
Right.
nothing really to talk about. And yet, we did the cases, we did the blessings, everything was fine.
Okay.
And then about a week later, Deb and I were coming out of church, and we were hit by a car.
Okay.
And I was run over 3 times, and
Wow.
I had a 20% chance of living afterwards. And 2 weeks later, I walked out of the hospital.
Wow. That sounds like almost like a miracle.
I think it was.
And then you decided to still do this work.
Absolutely.
Okay. So it was almost like a test initiation, or just how would you interpret it?
I don't know if it was a divine joke or...
Oh my goodness. Right.
But absolutely, no, nobody's going to help these people.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we didn't want the devil to win.
Right.
So,
Right. Do you think people today even believe in the devil?
I think a lot of people do, to be honest
do?
with you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Just because the world is so dark and there's so many problems, you think that's the reason, or why?
I think they know something's out there, or someone's out there.
Okay. All right. So I guess the last question I have for you is, what does the future look like for your ministry? What are some of the things that you want to do, things that you want to be remembered for?
Well, I think we want to just keep doing what we're doing now.
Okay.
Deb and I are working on a book.
Oh, good. Tell us about it.
Well, we've been doing this stuff for about 35 years now.
Okay.
We both started off with the Warrens in the
Right.
in the mid '80s, and we've got a good collection of cases, and we work with a lot of good people.
Mm-hmm.
One of which is John Zaffis.
Oh, yeah, I know
and,
John.
yeah, he's a good guy.
Yeah, very good.
And we put together a few stories that we've collected over the years,
Mm-hmm.
and hopefully we'll get that published one of these days, and we'll see what happens from there.
Are you going to self-publish it? Are you going to find a publishing company, or how are you going to get it?
I think right now we're going to self-publish.
Okay.
But we'll see what happens.
So what are you doing every day, every week, every month, or you're just writing things down when it comes down?
No, we've got everything all set.
Oh, you do?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. So maybe, it's 2020. So when do you think it'll be out? When do you hope the book
Well,
will
hopefully
be out?
next week.
Oh, I think.
But we shall see.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's like the exorcism cases. It's all in the Lord's hands.
Right. So what do you think the title will be? Do you have an idea?
We were thinking of What Lurks Within.
Oh, wow. And nobody's taken that title.
I don't think so.
So you have to make sure you have it.
We're going to trademark it and
Yes.
register it. And
Excellent. Well, I would say this. I hope we gave you something to think about. Father Larry, thank you for this conversation. I would say what you're doing is remarkable. It's unique. And I could say this, you're a blessing to many, many people. So thank you so much for being on the broadcast. It's Greg Dwyer saying, mind yourself. We'll catch you next time on Mindful Conversations.